Alright, so today we're going to pick up where we left off in talking about outsiders. And we're going to talk about specifically some character development of some characters. So let's do a quick refresher. Who are some characters that you read about last night?
Cherry, Johnny, Two-Bit, Soda Pop, Dally, and Pony Boy.
Awesome. Okay. Those are some really important characters and some key characters to the book. So let's go through them really quickly. So Soda Pop, we learned. Soda Pop, Derry. Yeah, Soda Pop, Derry, and Pony Boy are all brothers. Derry has taken on the role of patriarch in the family, and he takes care of his two little brothers, which is really important. Pony Boy is all about having. Soda Pop is all about having fun, and but he is also really protective of Pony Boy, who's the youngest of the three brothers. He is the narrator of this novel, so everything comes from his perspective. We know that Pony Boy is does really well in school, but he is part of the greasers, like the other boys that you mentioned, Dally and Two-Bit. And Johnny, they call him the pet of the group. He's tough, and everybody thinks he's tough, but the boys in the group know that he's actually been abused by his parents, and so that plays an important role. So we're gonna read. Read a section from the text, but I want you guys to pull out your graphic diagram. Okay, we've worked on this before. This is our graphic diagram to help us with characterization. So in this, you just have a blank man, and I want you guys to use context clues from the novel to draw in their characters. So in their clothes, draw their eyes, their hair, anything that you think helps describe who they are. So we're going to work on that. So I want everybody to choose one of the characters that we've listed, and while we read this section, make some notes of some things you could include. So I'll read the first little bit, and then we're going to have Kate read a couple more paragraphs, and then you're going to silently read a couple pages on your own. So it says, this is picking up right where we left off last night. The Mustang came to a halt beside us, and the two boys in the front seat got out. They were socials, all right. One had on a white shirt and a Madras ski jacket, and the other a light yellow shirt and a wine-colored sweater. I looked at their clothes and realized for the first time that evening that all I had was a pair of jeans and Soda's old navy sweatshirt, with sleeves cut short. I swallowed. Two-Bit started to tuck in his shirt tail, but stopped himself in time. He just flipped up the collar of his black leather jacket and lit a cigarette. The socials didn't even seem to see us. Cherry, Marcia, listen to us, the handsome black-haired soc with the dark sweater began. Johnny was breathing heavily, and I noticed he was staring at the social's hand. He was wearing 3 heavy rings. I looked quickly at Johnny, and I did dawning on me. I remembered that it was a blue Mustang that had pulled up beside the vacant lot, and that Johnny's face had been cut up by someone wearing rings. The social's voice broke into my thoughts. Just because we got a little drunk last time. Okay, Kate, will you read the next 2 paragraphs?
Cherry looked mad. A little? You call reeling and passing out in the streets a little? Bob, I told you, I'm never going out with you while you're drinking, and I mean it. Too many things could happen while you're drunk. It's me or the booze. The other soc, a tall guy with a semi-beetle haircut, turned to Marcia. Baby, you know we don't get drunk very often. When she only gave him a cold stare, he got angry. And if you are mad at us, that's no reason to go walking the streets with these bums.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate. Okay, so I want the rest of you to read the next 3 or 4 paragraphs. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to do that. Not paragraphs. 3 or 4 pages. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that. And while we're doing that, I want you to keep making notes, and then we're going to come back together, and we're going to talk about some of the things. And remember that you can choose to silently read, or you can choose to listen to an audiobook that we have provided. Okay. So let's come back, and we're going to talk about some of the things that you guys noticed in the text that talks about characterization. So one thing that you may have noticed is this first paragraph talked about the color of their clothes and what clothes they were wearing. So the Socs were in these sweaters and ski jackets, and they were clean and they were light colors, whereas the Greasers were in sweaters that had cut off sleeves. They were old clothes. The sleeves were cut short, like I said before. But what's really interesting is that Two-Bit chose to not tuck in his shirt tail. He thought about doing it when the Socs came, but he decided against it. What do you think are some reasons that a Greaser would decide against tucking in his shirt? You have any thoughts?
Because he wasn't sure whether or not he wanted to identify with their group.
Yeah, that's awesome. So he maybe had this moment where he wanted to look cool for the Socs, but then he realized he wanted to be part of the Greasers, which is really important to their identity. So as we're learning that these important clues that might seem like, oh, they're just describing a character, but they can also, it's not just describing the way they look, but a lot of times it's describing some deep personal things. And in this book specifically, it's important to notice it because their clothes are what help the characters identify differently from other characters, which is really important. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to watch a clip, the exact same clip from the portion that we just read. And in this clip, it's important to remember that sometimes movies choose to show details a little bit differently. And I want you to keep adding on to your graphic organizer so that you keep adding on and you keep creating a better picture of who this character is. I don't know what happened.
Boy, you all get along fine now. No, we don't. And you just shut your trap, Johnny Cake, because you ain't wanted home either. You shut your mouth, kid. I'm sorry. I just got a little mad. That's all right. Don't worry about it. We couldn't get along without you, so you just hush up. Marcia! Oh, look who's coming. What are we going to do? Just get normal? Let's keep going. Who are these clowns? Jerry! What's going on? What are you doing? Just because we got a little drunk doesn't mean you have... You call reeling and passing out in the streets a little? Bob, I've told you before, I'm never going out with you when you're drinking, and I mean it!
That's no reason to go walk in the streets with these bums.
Who you calling bums, pal?
You!
Randy!
Listen, we got two more of us in the back seat.
Pity the back seat.
You're
Stop
looking
it.
for a fight.
I am looking for a fight!
Come on, put the
Let's
knife
go!
down.
Come on, right now!
Come
right
on.
now! Right now!
All right, we'll go with you. Just wait a minute.
Why? We ain't scared of these bastards.
I hate fights. All right, I hate them. Here, funny boy.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and take a second just to work on filling out your graphic organizer based on what you saw, your character. Great. And after work for a few minutes, go ahead and turn to your partner and together help each other complete their graphic organizer.
Okay, what do you need help completing with your graphic organizer?
What are the parts of the graphic organizer? I was like especially thinking about like so these boys come out and they're like wearing all these layers, these like fancy layers, I feel like. And like the pony boy in the text, it says that he is only wearing like this sweatshirt that doesn't have sleeves. So like I think you could draw like a short, just the one shirt, and like his like arms are bare. Like he's like as a greaser, he's like more exposed to the elements, and the Socs are like they have all this money to fall back on. That was something I did.
Yeah, I think that's good. On mine, it talks about how like Johnny's kind of shy, and I noticed in the video he was like always kind of lagging behind, and like had his eyes kind of sunken down. So I had him with like his eyebrows like low went on his face just to show he was kind of shy. Yeah, and that's all I needed for my graphic organizer.
Great. Those are a great observation. I was listening in on these two students, and they had good observations. I liked how they looked at certain ways the film producers decided to show characters and what happened in their graphic. Allie pointed out the different layers and how that shows what posters are, how they're becoming which, how they're not quite as exposed to different things.
Awesome.
Okay, so for this next part, I'm going to have you get into small groups of other people who are looking at the same character, and you're going to draw out a life-size poster.
Okay, now that you guys got together with your groups, you guys all made your big posters of your characters. Now, as you realize that when you're talking with your groups, you probably realize that different things were important to you guys and different things stood out. As we've been talking about all year, that's one thing that's important about literature because of our personal experiences, different things are important to us and different things resonate with us as readers. So that is, sometimes it's a really good opportunity as readers to first read something on your own and come up with your own ideas and then work as a group because together we can come up with lots more ideas and we can get a better picture of your characterization, of who a character is. So that's a good reading strategy to remember when you have a hard time understanding a character or a plot point. It's important, it's a good idea to talk with people and discuss ideas and work together. The last thing we're going to do is I want each group to come up and we are going to present our posters for each character. Now you guys all did, each group had a different character, so remember that we're going to learn something new from each group. And I want you guys to practice the good listening skills that we've been talking about all years. So remember that good listeners have eyes on the speaker, they have all devices, all distractions put away so that we show the speaker that what they're saying is important to us, and that they have their mouth closed unless they're speaking. So, and at the end of each group, you're going to ask a question. Now, these questions have to be intelligent questions. So that means you're asking a question like, why did you choose to have the shirt be that color? Or why did you choose to have his facial expression be that way? Because these type of questions should help you understand more who the character is, and as we understand better who the character is, then we have a better understanding of the book. And then everybody presents. And I want you guys to remember this practice throughout the book. Character development in Outsiders is one of the most important parts of the book, and one of the reasons this book is still popular to this day. If you understand who the characters are, you're going to have a good understanding of the division between the Socias and the Greasers. But as everything we practice in this classroom, we're not just practicing this for this book, but I want you guys to remember that character development is a good way to help you understand themes, and it's a good way to help you understand changes and author purpose and all of these things. So I want you guys to take note of this practice and write it down in your writer's notebook in the section for good reading strategy.